Hello and welcome to Practical Intuition with Kay. I'm Kay, and it's great to see you. It's great to have you here with me. And this is the show where we are always working to help you choose from your heart, uh, choose what you would like to do in your life, and tune out the voices that might derail that for you, and help you really, really choose from your heart what you want. Um, as I said before, I'm Kay. I am a coach. I'm a high performance and well-being coach. I'm a good listener. I'm an artist. I'm an adventurer. And I'm really on an interesting journey. And I think today I want to share about a part of that journey with you. Um, and it's interesting because today I have no idea if I'm going to be emotional or not. It'll be very interesting to see what happens today. Because today is the anniversary of an important day. And the way that I've been thinking about it today, by the way, I'm recording on February the 1st of 2024. So if you're hearing this in real time, it's today. If you're hearing it when it first comes out. Uh, yeah, today is the first anniversary of the day that I decided to live, is how I've come to think of it. Because a year ago today, I was very, very, very caught up um, in suffering and in feelings of unworthiness and kind of a real underconfidence in myself, and that what I wanted for myself was valid. I think it's interesting that this show is really all about helping somebody get what they want for themselves, or take steps in that direction, and really live life to the fullest in the way that feels best for you. Because that's what my journey has been. And I don't think it's an accident that the message that I share and want to share with the world is one that has been so deeply important for me. um, and when I changed to Practical Intuition with Kay from what the show used to be, when I really wanted to help people um, be choosing from their heart, um, I did not realize the level of resonance, maybe the importance that this would take on for myself. And I didn't even realize, I think, what I was really working towards. And yeah, and so if I look back from where I am today, on February 1st of 2024, um, I was asked a really interesting question yesterday in a call with my beloved coaching peers. One asked the question, just brought into the room the question, like, how do you decide what to do next? And folks' answers were so interesting to hear about, and everybody bringing in their own perspectives on where they are in their lives, and how it looks now based on, or how, versus how it used to look for them to make a decision. And a lot of the responses sort of came down to, and this is true of me too, I used to do what others thought I should do. Like, I would consult others, not just for their thoughts. Actually, and the other thing is that others, I mean, this is something that we're all conditioned to do in our society, or a lot of us are. So it would be sometimes less about me asking and much more about other people saying, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And I didn't stop to consult. I basically took it as, well, it's working for them, so I guess it'll work for me. And um, that didn't work out quite, it didn't work out very well. And to be here now and understand that I've learned to, when I'm making a decision about what to do next, whether it's in my life or my business or my coaching practice or my art, or and energetically even, I consult my heart. I look past my prefrontal cortex, and I understand that that is a very important and valid part of myself. And there are other really important and valid parts that have information to contribute. to when something is going on, or when events are unfolding, or when I'm making a decision about what to do next. And consulting from my heart has really been the key for me. And I think if I think about it, if I put myself in February 1st of 2023, I was the suffering that I was experiencing was really caused by feelings of, I think I would say, unworthiness. I knew in myself that I really wanted to do something. I was very, very motivated to do a hike across northern England. There's several episodes of the show that have been about that experience as I was integrating it and sort of understanding how my life had changed since I did it, and bringing these changes into my life in a really positive way. I knew that what I wanted on February the 1st was to do it. And the events sort of came to a head that day, I guess I would say. Um, I felt very based and, trying to keep others in my life safe. But in my relationships, I was feeling like there was no one that I could share my innermost thoughts and feelings. There was no one who would uh the feeling that I had, and this was, you know, uh inside my head and not necessarily true, was that others it was making others really uncomfortable to have me doing it. Um Not doing the training for it, but about being away, and about and I in myself I remember the feeling of it was going to take so much resources, and I didn't feel worthy of having those resources allocated to me. And it's interesting because that was true inside myself about whatever was going to be paid for, from our personal finances or whatever, and whatever was going to be. I was at the time I had a GoFundMe, and I was fundraising. This trip ended up being like half crowdfunded, which is absolutely amazing. Um, and I think what happened on February the 1st, 2023 was part of why, because I was feeling very unworthy of asking for the resources, unworthy of like I was really putting myself last on the list in a mental sense. I was not um seeing myself as important as the other people around me, or basically anyone else. There's a poem, I think I've talked about this on the show a little bit. There's a poem by a woman named Mary Oliver. It's called The Summer Day. And the last line in it is, tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And the way I see it now is I was very busy trying to get everybody else to the point where they could enjoy their one wild and precious life. And I was not feeling uh, okay about doing that for myself. It was like it was as if that poem was written for everybody else but me. And of course, that poem was written for me too, as a friend pointed out. Um, and so that was the feeling inside of me on February 1st, 2023, was that I I didn't know how to ask for the time, the money, that was going to be required to do this. And um, there were some other things going on in our lives, in my personal life and in the lives of the people around me, that were making it extra hard. And things came to a head on that day because of a a conversation that I had with someone in my life that uh, to protect them, I don't feel comfortable sharing about. But basically, I ended up feeling very siloed away from anyone else. Like I felt ashamed of having dreams. I felt that um, you know, uh, you put it, I'm trying to figure out how to really share about this. So um, yeah, so I felt ashamed of having dreams, and I didn't know that I felt that way. So it was very interesting. And I'm writing a book right now, and it's been fun because the journey of writing it has been like one of reflecting on this past year. The book is called Waking Up. It's about how I changed in an identity sense as I was uh, training to cross Northern England. And then as I did it, and then as I sort of came back into my life after doing, achieving this really high performance thing where, a dozen years prior, I needed a wheelchair to go more than a few steps. So it was a big deal. But as my therapist, my wonderful, wonderful therapist, who we were together for 7 years, we started together when I had lost the use of my hands almost completely. And I remember him saying early on in our therapy something like, I've worked with people before who've had these devastating kinds of injuries. And what I've noticed is that the injury itself, or the condition, the physical challenge itself, is less than half the problem. And I remember being like, screw you, like what a like that's not true. And of course was absolutely true, like, right. And so I think that's what I would say here. Like, some things were reflected to me about what I was doing and how it was making other people uncomfortable, because of the time away, because of the resources that would be allocated towards that. And the way that I took it was that it was an unapproachable subject, that I wasn't going to be able to get these resources, and um, like, you know, therefore, it just caused so much suffering because I didn't feel worthy to even ask for the resources. And um, that was really reflected back to me. I have this, I belong to a wonderful group of coaches called the Global Coach Community. And there happened to be, it was a Wednesday, and there happened to be a call that day. And I will remember forever the reflection coming back to me as I was sharing about a dream that I had and about the obstacles and overcoming it to, that I would have to overcome to achieve this dream. And what was reflected back to me was that was a locked door in my mind, and we can't work with a locked door. And it was said with so much compassion and love. And I do remember the feeling of just falling out the back of myself. Like, I had no idea now what that meant or what to do. And I was just in so much pain. Like, I didn't know how to unlock that door, or if it could even be unlocked. It didn't feel like it could. So we got off the call, and, you know, um, I went through my evening routine and whatever, cleaned up the dishes from dinner. And all the while, I was just torn to shreds inside. And I started to think about, like, ways to end this. And it's interesting because I had always thought that the way that you would not feel suicidal is that you would um, think of your family. You would remember the people that love you, and you would live for them, right? And the experience that I had that afternoon and evening was that it was like it made me feel worse to think of them, because I felt like I wasn't showing up for them. I was choosing myself in a selfish way. I was, nothing to do with them, right? I really want to emphasize that it was all to do with me and what was going on inside me. And so I was really in a free fall, and I started to consider ways to end this free fall. And at some point in the evening, I received a message from my coach, Andrew, and he had been in the call that day, and it was clear that he had seen something that was disturbing for him in my behavior. And so he wrote with a question of that came from him from a real place of curiosity. This is, I think, the value of having someone who isn't in your life, who doesn't, who's a lot more objective, right? Who has a wider view. And what he messaged me with a question, and the question was, "I'm curious about your share today. Is the England trip a go?" And the messaging, the conversation that we had that evening, in a very short time, I went from feeling so siloed up, and I remember saying at one point, like, I think it would be like feeling celebrated would be gravy. I just want to feel not so alone. And and it's interesting because as I think about the book that I'm writing, it's very tempting to hide behind a conversation and say, "Oh, this person is why I'm still here," right? This other person outside of me is the one who saved my life, or something like that. And uh, the truth is that, like, I'm incredibly grateful for the the attention that was brought to me that evening, so that I could kind of reorient and get a different understanding of what was going on inside myself, and show up differently for the people in my life and for myself. And the truth is that, like, I did those things, right? I was the one who so Andrew helped me craft a question to ask the members of my family, um, that would get us both what we needed, or all what we needed. Basically, it was, and this is, I think, the point that I really wanted to bring today, is when we are suffering, or when we are unhappy, how do I feel better myself? For me, the answer is I go help somebody else feel better. And that was so true in that moment, because I, I, the question that I asked was about understanding others' needs to feel safe and okay as I did this thing. Well, it wasn't even just about that thing. It was about the things that I feel inspired to do. And at its heart, it was really about understanding that I am just as worthy as anyone else to get what I want and to do what I want. And just thinking on the nature of, like, others' opinions and judgments and how they can impact us. For myself, what I've learned is that I can hear those opinions and be okay with someone else thinking that, or believing that, or wishing that. And I know that I can believe and wish and work towards what I want in here. And that is why February 1st was such an important day, because I went from not feeling worthy and suffering, to helping somebody else, others, I would say, get what they needed in order for them to support me in doing what I felt inspired to do. And, like, so if you want to feel better yourself, help somebody else feel better, I think, is, like, that's come back to me again and again and again. Because now I'm coming from a place inside where I feel good, and that's when I can be happiest and feel most fulfilled and content, right? It's also and joyful. It's also a place from which I can be much more helpful, because if there's some things going on in our lives right now, and I'm making some decisions about how involved to be, for example, and realizing that, if there are self-care alarms going off inside me, there's a reason for that. And what we need most is to not have uh, more than one person sort of being depleted. And when I am not depleted myself, I can be a much better contributor to others, well-being, and much more of a support. Yeah, so that's that's what I wanted to bring you today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and watching. If you're watching this in YouTube, this is a deep one. It's pretty vulnerable, and I feel safe, you know, and I know that part of it is I'm bringing feelings of safety, um, and I see that part of it is also, that you're here with me. And that's why I feel safe. So thank you. Um, I have a lot of love for you. If you are at if something's going on for you and you want to talk with somebody who's a pretty good listener and good at reflecting and holding space, um, get in touch with me. My email is the letter K, so K at klockhope.com. or kaylockculp.com/contact is another place to get in touch with me, or Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm at We Turned Out Okay in Instagram, and my LinkedIn is my name, Kay Lockculp. Um, I would love to be helpful for you if I can. And if just being here and listening to somebody's story who, I was reflecting on my walk today, how glad I am to be alive. I'm so glad to be alive. Like, yeah. And if I can be helpful for you on your journey, that makes me feel even better. So, um, lots of love to you. I have, as always, a huge thank you to our producer, the man who has taught me how to do so much in terms of my own audio and video and stuff like that. I'm super grateful to him, not just for those reasons, but because he is the 26th-time winner of the Husband of the Year award, Benjamin Cole. So much love to you, honey, and it's such fun to be with you on this journey and to see you as you are creating your life how you want it. Yeah, it's great. All right. Thank you again for listening, for watching. So much love to you. We will see you next time. Bye.